All right, joining us now is DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin. Tricia, I want to get to this James Comey story with you. So he was interviewed for 70 minutes last night. His wife will also be interviewed. From the Department of Homeland Security's perspective, did James Comey call for the assassination of President Trump?
Yes, in the DHS's opinion, and Secretary Noem has said she believes that this is a call for an assassination from the former head of the FBI to a sitting president of the United States. Americans can rest assured that we are taking this incredibly seriously. I won't get ahead of Director Kern or Secretary Noem, but as you mentioned, Comey did sit down for an interview. I think it was closer to an hour and 10 minutes, and there will be consequential interviews after this with other members of his family and other people who were there.
Tricia, I want to get your take on the Supreme Court ruling yesterday to halt the deportation of a group of Venezuelan migrants under the Alien Enemies Act. Tricia, how's the administration going to fight this?
You know, this is just one battle, but we are going to win this war against the invasion of our country. 15 to 20 million people illegally entered this country in the last 4 years alone. And what we were really using this Alien Enemies Act to do was to get these vicious criminal gangs out of our country, like Tren de Aragua, which most of the people at this table and a lot of viewers will remember. How does Tren de Aragua enrich itself? By sex trafficking of young women, by trafficking drugs. These are individuals who rape, maim, and kill Americans for sport. But, you know, Alien Enemies Act is not the only authority in our toolbox. We have Title VIII, we have expedited removal, and Americans can rest assured we will be getting these individuals off of our streets.
Well, that's good news. Tricia, I want to turn to this. Wisconsin Judge Hannah Dugan is claiming judicial immunity and pleading not guilty after she was arrested for allegedly helping an illegal migrant evade ICE. Meanwhile, Newark, New Jersey Democrat Mayor Ras Baraka, this week, he was in court to face federal charges for storming an ICE facility last week, but now he's comparing his action to the biblical King David. Watch this.
When the congressman came to the gate and was like, Mayor, they said they're going to arrest you. That was a David moment. I could have got in the car and ran. I could have said, I'm getting out of here. Maybe they arrest me at work or my home or whatever. But I froze. I froze, not even like actively and deliberately. My body froze. My mind and my body froze like, this is it. You're supposed to be here. Whatever they're going to do, they're going to do it.
The three Democrats who were trespassing with him are also facing possible arrest, but their party is warning DHS against it.
It's a red line. It's very clear. The so-called Homeland Security spokesperson is a joke. They know better than to go down that road. There are clear lines that they just dare not cross.
If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, we are going to have a problem.
Okay, so Tricia, what's your message to Hakeem Jeffries and AOC, and are more lawmakers expected to be arrested? What do you think?
These members of Congress and this mayor crossed a line when they put hands on our law enforcement. We take the safety of our law enforcement incredibly seriously, and I understand that this mayor is seeking higher office. It looks like he wants to be governor, and he's trying to get his 15 minutes of fame, and he's trying to do it at the expense of our law enforcement agents, and we're not playing games in this administration. They stormed that facility, they broke the law, they trespassed, and then they put hands on our law enforcement. It is despicable, it's un-American in the fact that they are protesting to get MS-13 gang members, known terrorists, child rapists, truly the worst of the worst, out of this detention facility is pretty sickening. And you juxtapose that to Secretary Noem and President Trump, who are working day in and day out to get these dangerous terrorists, gang members, and violent criminals off of American streets and off of American soil.
Thank you.
Tricia, at least 20 states are suing President Trump over threats to withhold federal funding if they refuse to follow his immigration laws. And Arlington, Virginia is now banning police from cooperating with ICE on arrests of alleged migrant gangbangers and sex traffickers.
To be clear, Immigration enforcement remains at the federal level. It is not our job. We will not do it. And that has not changed.
It does not keep us safe to be complicit in any way with the infringement upon constitutional rights that we are witnessing from our federal government on an ongoing basis.
Across the nation, we are witnessing firsthand fundamental rights being chipped away. And we cannot allow that to happen here in Arlington.
Wow. Tricia, what is the Department of Homeland Security doing about these obstructionists by local and state officials?
These politicians are playing Russian roulette with the lives of Americans. How do you get so far off of the reservation that you're doing the bidding and protection of vicious gangs like MS-13 and Tren de Aragua and kidnappers and child rapists at the expense of the safety of your own constituents? I quite frankly don't understand it. We will continue to conduct ICE enforcement operations. These politicians be damned.
Tricia, Lisa Booth again. Well, some are still trying to obstruct ICE. State and local law enforcement agencies across the nation are signing the 287G task force agreement to team up with ICE on immigration enforcement. It's already been a success in places like Florida with Operation Tidal Wave. They were able to arrest over 1,000 migrants last month thanks to this program. What else can you tell us about these agreements, and how much does that help you guys at the Department of Homeland Security?
The 287G program, Lisa, has been incredibly successful at its very early stages. We already have 562 agreements to deputize local and state law enforcement to carry out immigration actions throughout the country. So, as you were mentioning, Operation Tidal Wave, about 1,100 arrests, incredibly successful to get these vicious criminals off of our streets. And I think that's just a preview of what's to come. We just had a large-scale operation in Massachusetts and Houston as well, and 287G was also deployed there. So I think Americans will be happy to see our state, local, and federal law enforcement are really partnering to carry out the president's agenda, which is to get violent criminals off of American streets.
And we're also learning that the DHS has pitched a reality show where illegals compete for U.S. citizenship. The department has already made an impression on social media with it. Let's watch this. Tricia, we just discussed all the good work the Department of Homeland Security is doing, making America safer as a result of what you guys are doing. Why a reality show? I mean, doesn't that take away from all of the good work?
Lisa, I think that there's a lot of misreporting out there, and I think, unfortunately, some of it's intentional. We get pitched hundreds of shows, docuseries, scripted series about all of DHS's different component offices, from CBP to ICE to TSA to FEMA to Secret Service to U.S. Coast Guard, and we review those, but there's absolutely no reality show in the works whatsoever. Again, this is just a pitch that came to us. The Secretary isn't even aware of that pitch. So anyone who's trying to put out that there's some reality TV show is just not telling the truth.
Well, I'm glad you could clarify that, and that's important. I also want to get you this before we go. You had mentioned that the Department of Homeland Security does, in fact, see James Comey's social media post as a threat to the president, an attempted assassination, a threat to the president. So what will the consequences be for him?
I'm going to leave that to the Department of Justice, but I can tell you we are taking this incredibly seriously. And like I said, last night is not going to be the last interview for this situation at hand.
All right, Tricia, thanks so much for joining us. We had a lot of questions for you. Appreciate you making the time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.